All right, let's dive right into this explainer. To kick things off, I want you to imagine a very specific scenario for a second. Picture someone at a neighborhood cookout. You know the type. They're wearing a kind of faded polo shirt, some beat-up boat shoes, and when the party finally wraps up, they hop into a totally reliable but distinctly 10-year-old Volvo. On the surface, totally unremarkable. If you're chatting with them by the grill, they're quiet, they're super easy to talk to, and, this is key, they never, ever name-drop some exclusive resort. If you grab dinner with them, they aren't making a huge, flashy scene trying to pick up the check. Honestly, they just never bring up money. Like, at all.
And then, boom, you somehow find out their net worth is actually sitting somewhere north of $4 million. No way, right? But here's the really fascinating part. This isn't an accident. It's not just them being passively modest. This is a deeply intentional, highly practiced way of moving through the world that the genuinely wealthy have refined, honestly, sometimes over generations.
To really wrap our heads around this, we've got to look at the core difference between the performance of wealth and genuine comfort. Performing wealth is entirely about signaling status to everyone around you. But genuine comfort? That's a shift toward practiced discretion. It's all about minimizing the social friction and the weirdness that highly visible wealth can create in everyday relationships.
So, here's our agenda for today. We're deconstructing the psychology of lasting wealth into 5 key pillars: the aesthetics of invisibility, the social grace code, the long game mindset, the power of generosity, and finally, your stealth wealth blueprint. Let's get right into it.
Pillar number 1, the aesthetics of invisibility. Basically, dressing and living for those who already know. We're going to look at how genuine comfort physically shows up in what people wear and how they live.
Think about the contrast here. On one side, you've got the performance of wealth. We're talking giant flashy logos, obvious brand signatures, things that scream, "Look at me." On the other side, you have quiet wealth. Now, someone hiding their wealth isn't trying to look poor. Not at all. They just rely on exceptional fit and amazing fabrics. They might throw on a plain navy cashmere crew neck that, to a stranger, looks exactly like a cheap fast fashion sweater. But to someone who knows textiles, the weight of that fabric and the precision of the cut are instantly obvious. They are literally dressing for the people who already know, rather than the people who need to be told.
And this exact same logic applies to their homes. You're not going to walk into some flashy, maximalist stage showroom where everything is brand spanking new. Instead, their spaces are understated but absolutely flawless. They feel genuinely lived in because they've been carefully curated over time. You might see immaculate 30-year-old furniture that just fits the space perfectly, or a kitchen that was renovated once, done right the first time, and has never needed an update since. It's a standard of living that requires either a lot of real money or a lot of real time to maintain.
Moving right along to Pillar 2, the social grace code, navigating interactions with actual indifference. Let's look at the unspoken rules of how stealth wealth interacts with society.
Now, the absolute golden rule of this social code: never, ever mention what things cost. People who are performing wealth literally can't help themselves. They constantly weave prices into their stories, like complaining about a vacation cost or a renovation budget. Because to them, the price is the whole point of the story. But the genuinely wealthy, they see mentioning prices as incredibly graceless, because it implies the money behind the purchase is still a big deal to them.
You can see this play out in real time at a restaurant. When someone's performing wealth, they might make a massive production out of the menu, loudly pointing out prices or making a big deal of the bill. But with quiet wealth, a menu is just a menu. They literally just order whatever sounds good to eat. That price column on the right side doesn't even register. And the crazy thing is, it's not an act. It is actual, genuine indifference. Which brings us to how they talk about themselves. Take John here. John built a 7-figure net worth by quietly investing for 30 years. But if you ask John at a party what he does, he'll just shrug and say, "Oh, I'm a small business owner." Why the mystery? Because John knows that being specific invites questions, it invites awkward comparisons, and worst of all, it invites requests for money. All of that just creates friction. By staying deliberately vague, they protect their peace. They skip the vulgar self-promotion and instead ask you specific, genuine questions about your life, because frankly, they have zero left to prove.
All right, let's hit Pillar 3, the long game mindset. Optimizing for trust and equanimity. Here's how this group manages their time and emotions over the long haul. Just look at this level of loyalty. It's actually wild. An accountant for 22 years, a financial advisor they've used since before their kids were even born. They stick with the same tailor, the same mechanic, the same dentist for literally decades. While folks performing wealth are constantly jumping ship to find the absolute cheapest deal or the trendiest new option, old money just stays put. They are entirely optimizing for deep trust and reliability.
And since they've kind of been there, done that with material stuff, their whole focus shifts. As behavioral economics tells us, experiential spending brings way more lasting satisfaction than buying things. So when they open up about what matters to them, they aren't talking about a new watch. They're talking about an amazing sabbatical they took 15 years ago, or a particular teacher who totally changed their kid's life. It's all about what's left over after the shiny stuff stops mattering.
This long-game perspective completely changes how they handle stress, too. Imagine the market suddenly drops 3%. A lot of people who are anxiously performing wealth might absolutely panic. They're obsessively refreshing their portfolio apps, they're nervously chatting about it by the water cooler, and they feel that drop on a deep emotional level. But the genuinely wealthy? Complete calm. Total equanimity. For them, a 3% drop isn't some massive crisis. It's just Tuesday. They've lived through so many market cycles that they don't even flinch. They notice it, maybe make a tiny adjustment, and just go about their day. Kind of like an experienced sailor smoothly adjusting the sails when the wind changes.
Pillar number 4, the power of generosity. Honestly, this is the ultimate tell of stealth wealth.
There's a really stark contrast here in how these two groups give back. Visible generosity is all about getting the credit, making big, announced donations, or dramatically swiping a black card for a giant group dinner. But quiet generosity? It's practically invisible. It's the person who secretly pays the bill before you even realized it arrived. It's the person who makes a quiet email introduction that opens up a massive career door for you behind the scenes. They might remember a tiny detail you mentioned 6 months ago and just take care of it. They don't want the credit, it's just a natural extension of their overarching discretion.
Which brings us to our final section, Pillar 5, your stealth wealth blueprint. A blueprint for absolutely everyone.
So why does any of this actually matter to us? Well, the beauty of recognizing these signs isn't just about playing detective at a dinner party. It's that these behaviors literally hand you a blueprint for a better life. The discretion, the intense loyalty to people you trust, the focus on experiences over stuff, and that unbothered emotional calm, those are practically psychological superpowers. They reduce stress and build lasting satisfaction. And the absolute best part is, you can start intentionally building these habits today, right now, completely regardless of how much money is sitting in your checking account.
So, I really want to leave you with this one final question to chew on. As you go about your week, take a hard look at your own relationship with money. Are you burning your energy optimizing for the appearance of wealth just to impress other people? Or are you aiming for the quiet, unbothered freedom of genuine comfort? It's a massive shift in perspective, but honestly, it might just change everything for you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I seriously encourage you to start testing out this stealth wealth blueprint in your own life today.